looking stuff. And basically what you do is you just wait till that starts to run clear. It's getting there, so I'm just going to shut that for a second. I'm just going to pour it right back over the top, because there's a lot of sugars in there, but there's also going to be a lot of debris and stuff that I don't want yet. So I'm just going to keep running her through a couple of times until she runs clear, and then I'm going to start filling up the bucket. So I had all of my asparged mash liquid in here, and now I've transferred it back to my kettles on the stove. And what I'm doing is I'm bringing these up to a boil. Now, this is also, if you're doing extract, whether it be liquid or dry, this would be your starting point. You'd fill your container, your pot up with water, and then you would add your dry malt extract to it. And you'd start cooking it up. Now these have to be brought up to at least 65, 70 degrees. And if you can get them up to just under 200, you're probably doing the best. But you bring your wort, because that's what it's called now, up to that temperature, and you let it cook for, about half an hour. Now after half an hour comes when you'd add the spices. Now hops is the spice for beer. Now hops can be added at several different times, but the first batch, or first infusion of hops, usually takes place with the most bitter hops. The reason being is because they might not have a lot of aromatic qualities to them, but they'll have that classic hops bitterness taste to it. And hops not only is going to add flavor to your beer, it's also going to help preserve it. So I've added 2 ounces of Tettnang hops here. And there's several different varieties of hops. You can look them up. Most brewing books will tell you all about them. And I'm going to use these hops for my first infusion. So I got them in my little hot bag here, and I'm going to throw it in my big kettle. Now, while those are cooking, I'm just going to pin it with my thermometer here. While those are cooking, in my other one, these are the other spices I'm going to use. We got some coriander that's been crushed, and then we also have some orange peel in here, and that's going to give it the Belgian sort of citrusy spiced beer sort of flavor. And I'm adding it into this one. Now, aside from the grains that I used to make my wort, I also added 3 pounds of light DME, or dried malt extract, to this one, and 1 pound of Belgian clear candy to this one. It's got to be a strong beer to be a triple, so I have to add a little bit extra sugar boost to it, because I can't get enough with my equipment alone out of grains. So I'm going to let these cook up. The spices for 30 minutes, and then this one for 30 minutes, but the last 5 minutes I'm going to take 1 ounce of Hallertau hops, and I'm going to throw them in the bag also, and that's going to be what we call our aromatic hops. That's what's going to give it that sort of, the beer smell when you first take that whiff out of the glass. Alright, all of our hops have been boiled up. So now it's time to cool it all down, and the faster you cool it down, the better. Now, I've done stuff as simple as taking it, putting it in the sink, and putting some ice cubes around it, and then running water around that, and just spin and spin and spin until it cools off.
I'm making a formula.
But I picked up for Christmas this wort chiller, which we just put the whole thing in here. I'm just going to lift up the hot bag quick, put it all in there, and the water runs through it and it takes the heat away. So I'm going to quick cool this down, and then from here it goes into our fermenting bucket, and then I pitch some yeast in. We got all of our wort in here. all cooled down to just below 80 degrees. Now I'm going to splash it around to get some bubbles going. You need to aerate it before you throw your yeast in. So now it's got a little bubble going, and I'm just going to pitch the yeast in and just start stirring her in. Just like that. Okay, now normally I would do a primary in glass, but being that this is such a heavy sugar load in here, or it should be such a heavy sugar load, we're just going to start it in the bucket and go from there. We got our yeast pitched in and all that. I'm just going to take my lid, put it on top here. And you want to make sure to put it so that when you lift up the handle, that the airlock's not going to be in the way. And then take my airlock, fill it up to the line. I'm just going to slip it in through the top. Just like that. Put a cap on it. And there we go. It's all good to go. And we'll just set it off to the side in some dark corner for about a week. And let it do its thing and make sure that all the yeast is kicking properly. And then from there, we're going to take it and we're going to transfer it to glass. And it's probably going to sit in there for a month before we bottle it. So after you've let your beer ferment and you transferred it and you bottle it up, let it sit for a while to carbonate, it's time to enjoy it. It spoils up your work. Now, if you're going to have a good beer, especially your own, use a glass. Just because you want to see what the head's going to look like. And even if you buy one from the store and you spend some good money on it, just use a glass, just so you can see exactly what it looks like. A little bit ahead on this one. But the best part comes with enjoying it. It might seem like a bit of work to begin with, but in the end, it's totally worth it. Now, I know there's a lot of stuff I didn't cover today, and there's a lot of stuff that people are going to say that they do different, or that should be done different. Truth is, do a couple recipes to start off with the way you like them, and then just go from there. You'll eventually kind of get your own sort of style going on, and just go with whatever feels right. But seek out the books, seek out the recipes, and they'll help you all along the way. And the nice thing is, well, if you're into barbecue, it's a great thing to do while your meat's sitting out on the barbecue cooking away. Especially when you get to enjoy it afterwards, because nothing is better than barbecuing and drinking a few. At least that's my opinion. So, you got some ice cold beer and chicken. Hang down and act a fool. Barbecue and drink a few. This is Tom Porter with Deep in the Sauce. Brought to you by Big Butz Barbecue Sauce. Have a good one.